Is this thing on? We recording? Probably one of the biggest questions I get on my channel is, what is that white machine that you're always using to debulk with? This is the Oster Volt. I have a lot of good things to say about this machine. You might also notice it in the different trim. It's called the Oster Octane. It is the exact same thing. There is no difference. I bought this machine, I think it was about 7 years ago, and I've beat this machine to death. I couldn't even count how many haircuts have been done with this, because it's not only me. I let other people use it in the shop. Cody, I featured him on a few videos. He's used it in the shop. We use this. A lot of people have used this. It's probably done 50 cuts in a day sometimes. It never dies. And this is the same battery that's been in it the entire time. But probably the most important factor to consider when getting a debulking clipper that's cordless is the modularity of the battery. Modularity? Is that a word? I don't know. But this battery is modular, meaning that I just push these two tabs, I pull this out, and guess what? If this battery gets messed up, I'd just buy a new one. Not to mention, it comes with the stand. It sits on here all the time, so as it's sitting, it's always charging, and that's why it never dies. It's just like, this is fantastic, the battery life, because of that. And then even if I had an extra battery, I could put that in here, and I could go ahead and I could charge that while I was charging this one, or have an extra one ready to go. So it's really a win-win. But the crazy thing is that this battery is still good. 7 years of beating on this. This is my workhorse. When I turn this on, it only has one speed. That's fast. It's real fast. It never snags, it never pulls, and it never gives me issues. So the only thing that I could say about this clipper that might be construed as a negative, which is not a negative in my opinion, is it's loud. It's loud because it's got a lot of power. You can probably hear it. Listen. Alright, that going around your ear, yeah, it's a little loud, but it's really not like I'm using it for that long of a period of time. I'm using it to put in a skin line, or I'm using it to knock down the top, or I'm using it to do some other kind of debulking. So it's never like I'm running this machine non-stop throughout the entire haircut. I don't do fades with it and stuff like that. This is mainly a debulking clipper. And for some of you guys out there who are just getting started, you might not need a debulking clipper. This clipper's good for when you're doing a high volume of people and you're looking to save time. And that's really the main advantage to it, and it also stops you from beating up your trimmers. Alright, a lot of guys like to put in their debulking with their trimmer, and they complain that they are going through a lot of blades and they're having a lot of issues and they're not getting them crispy lineups that you see everybody else get. Well, that's because you're not using the workhorse. Okay, this machine reduces the stress of all my other machines because I don't debulk with anything but this. All detachable clippers are going to be interchangeable. If you have Oster blades and you have Andis blades, you have any blades, it doesn't matter. You can put them on here and they're going to work. So you can get these sharpened, and it's very inexpensive to have somebody sharpen it, or if you want, you could do it yourself. So if you're interested in this clipper, I'm going to put a link down in the description. It is expensive, I'll warn you. It is expensive, but it is very well worth it. I've probably bought something like 30-40 clippers since I've had this, and this is the only one that stayed on my station the entire time, other than the fast feeds. The most used detachable blades that you will find yourself needing. I prefer the 5.0 blade. This one is actually the Oster 5.0. I actually prefer the Andis 5.0, which I have it at the shop. I feel like that blade was a little bit better than the Oster version of it, but it really doesn't matter. If you get them sharpened, they're all going to pretty much do the same thing. It's just a personal preference. I felt like the Ultra Edge might have lasted a tiny bit longer, so that's what I got for a link in the description on that one. I have the Ultra Edge for the 5.0. The next most used one for me is kind of a toss-up between the number 2 and the 1 1/2. Okay, I love debulking with the 2 and the 1 1/2. Let's say somebody comes in with a ridiculous amount of hair. They're asking for a skin fade and their hair is like a number 5 on the side or longer than that. You're not going to want to put your skin line in on that number 5 length, because you won't be accurate. You won't know where you're at because you can't see down to the scalp. Which is why I put the 1 1/2 on, or the number 2 on, depending on what I'm trying to do, and I knock out all that bulk, and now I can see where I'm putting in my skin line. So that's really the advantage to it. I knock out all that bulk, But there's another advantage to using the number 2 that will be left on the head. Jesus! So the number 2 just happens to line up to the exact same length that you would get when you put this comb alongside the head with the 5-0 and you're doing clipper over comb. So the width of a comb, a clipper comb, plus your 5-0 is very close to the length that you're going to find with the 1.5 or a number 2, which means that if I go just above the parietal ridge with the number 2, and then I can knock out my clipper over comb, and the whole thing is just totally seamless, and I don't even need to touch any of my blending clippers yet. I can knock out all the bulk, put in my skim line, and do the clipper over comb, and then I can get down to business with the feeds. Number 1, the feeds. My other most used guard is going to be the number 3. And the number 3 is good for those clients who tell you that they like, say, a 3 on top and skin on the sides. Great. You put that number 3 on really quick. You're going to be able to knock down all that bulk and get that whole top of that head cut perfectly, because the alternative to, say, using a number 3 on your seniors, you're going to have to make a lot more passes. You're going to have to make something like 10 times the amount of passes. And I bet you anything, if you look close at a client when you're done doing a number 3 on the top of their head with one of these guards, if you look close, there's going to be a bunch of little hairs still sticking out that you didn't cut. It's almost impossible to cut them all. Of course, if you've seen some of my techniques with the spritzing of the top of the head, but anyways, another time, another day. But I'm just trying to explain to you that if you have a debulking clipper, you're going to find that that little hair sticking out stuff is going to be severely reduced. You can still get them. However, you're going to have a lot less passes and a lot less work to take care of if you do that. That's really all you need. I don't really see the need to buy any of the other guards, the 0A, the 1, the 1A, unless you plan on blending with them, which I think is pointless because you can do the blend a lot faster with the feeds. So there's really no point in doing that. But debulking, these are the absolute best. If they broke tomorrow, I would gladly run out and buy another pair. I just can't believe how good these really are. But even if they did break tomorrow, oh, if the battery went, I guess I'd just go buy another battery. They're $50 on eBay. And again, I'll put the link in the description for the battery too, just in case you can find it on Amazon, somewhere in that range, $50 or so. That's really all I have for you in this video. I just thought that this machine deserved its own video, and so many people have asked me so many questions about it that I figured I just needed to do this real quick. I just had to get this off my chest. So I appreciate you watching. Thanks for listening. And any questions, issues, or concerns, just throw them in the comments, and I'll see you again soon. Peace. I'm out.